Good evening, Miss Harness. How are you doing today?
Oh well, how about yourself?
I'm doing fine myself. Did you have a smooth drive here?
Oh man, the traffic here in these city streets, I tell you, it's always horrible around this time of the day.
Right.
I just don't, but it's okay. Point is I made
Right. I'm glad you had a safe trip here, and that traffic is horrible at times.
it.
But I'm just glad that you're here. You made it to this session. So I know in our last session, I had you paint me a definition of what you think a healthy relationship is.
Right.
We discussed those things. That was very helpful. And I also asked you at the end of that session to kind of brainstorm some ideas you have that can help you conquer your fear of dating. How did that go for you?
It was good. I'm an overthinker, as you might could tell, and sometimes I devote too much time to reading into things too much. So I've, with that alone being in mind, I just thought maybe I should stop overthinking it,
Right.
and instead of trying to be uh, out here trying to find Mr. Right, I think I'm just gonna try to have fun. Just try to try some different things like speed dating maybe, or double dating with a friend. Try to meet someone outside my employment because, as I told you in previous sessions, I've met most of my friend guys or significant others through my employer because I don't get out much.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure if I kind of expand my social area and not try to find someone, but allow someone to find me, and just put myself in a predicament where I know myself and what I want, and try to date more. I mean, try to be out more. I'm sorry, be more sociable, and maybe I could learn people. And I feel like a safe environment for me to do that in is when I double date with a friend.
Right. So those are two very good ideas you have of, how to conquer this fear of yours and how to, achieve your goal and be successful. I just want to applaud you for, taking a step back and being very aware of your own self.
Right.
Because by you being able to, see that you overthink or see that you have these issues, it makes it easier for us to figure out like a middle ground between that.
Yes.
So in that, I know you mentioned speed dating and double dating.
Right.
So, do you think those would be the best routes for you to take?
Well, um, at this point, yeah, because I'm still kind of afraid of the whole dating thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I double date with a friend that knows me or who introduced me to someone that they know, and there's kind of like a middle ground there, I think I feel it's safer because I won't be leaning on just how I think or how I feel. I can have someone outside looking in that knows me and that knows that person and can say, well, I don't know if this is a good match, or you doing this or you shouldn't do that. That can kind of serve as a guide or a mediator or something like that.
And that's very good that you can use your friends as
Mm-hmm.
kind of an accountability partner or kind of as a strength for you
Right.
while trying to achieve this goal.
Mm.
So I just want to ask you, what concerns you the most about this problem in the long run?
Well, ooh, I think if I don't conquer or do something about my anxiety and fear of dating again, that one, I may be alone for the rest of my life, and I really don't want that. And I also feel like it would cause me to um, grow a social phobia where I'm just afraid to be sociable, and I don't like that because at one point I was a very sociable person. I used to laugh and hang out and do things and meet people, but I don't want it to turn into something that turns me to someone I'm not.
Okay, so just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, um, you don't you don't want to have this fear of dating make you miss out on a significant other
Right.
in the long run, and you don't want it to cause you to have a social phobia.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right, where I'm afraid to socialize with people, especially of the opposite sex.
Hmm. So, Ms. Harness, I just want to stop, just while we're going along, and I just want to say again, you show immense strength in your vulnerability and just your honesty. And I really feel that those two traits can take you far into counseling and to just making sure your goals are achieved. So I just want to step back and just applaud you on that.
Thank you.
And moving forward, I just want to ask you what has happened in your life, like one instance where you faced something challenging and you were able to accomplish that.
Well, I must say, going back to school after my first domestic violence situation that I had shared with you earlier in counseling, I was actually in college at the time when that incident happened, and because I couldn't get out the relationship, and I was like taken aback because that was my first instance of ever having that type of situation happen to me. I didn't know what to do. My grades started declining. I ended up dropping out of school, and it just took a long time to bounce back from that relationship. And it was like I knew I needed to get an education, a degree of some sort, to better myself and put myself in a better predicament in life. And so I finally made up my mind to, go back to school. You could do this, you could do that. And I did. I went back to school, received my associate's degree in criminal justice, and I did.
How did you feel once you accomplished that goal?
Oh man, I felt ecstatic. I just felt like it was nothing I couldn't do after that. I felt like, anything I put my mind to, I can really go out there and do it.
Okay, so that's very interesting in the fact that the kind of barriers and goals that you're working on now, you can kind of use your past experiences of having that challenge of not being sure about going back to school and accomplishing that to kind of fuel your fire to accomplish these goals. If you put yourself in the same mindset, then do you think you will be able to accomplish these goals that you have set out?
Yeah, I think I can. I think if, like I said earlier, if I stop overthinking it, I can. I mean, especially with the right, with the right guidance and the right, what's the word I'm looking for? I just really believe I can do it, and I think it all comes back to me overthinking a lot.
Okay, so I just want to ask you, what are some barriers that can pose as an obstacle? I hear you mentioned earlier you're overthinking. So is that an obstacle for you?
Yeah, that overthinking, I guess second guessing myself, finding myself being too needy. I think those are some of the things that serve as barriers for me in my situation with the dating thing, and finding myself staying in bad situations too long is something that I'm very bad at. Like, instead of most people see the sign of trouble and run the other way, I'll be there trying to fix it and trying to make it work. And I think that's what gets me every time. But I'm ready to try to do some things differently.
Right. So I'm glad that you can see these problems and obstacles head on.
Right.
So that by counseling, I hope we can dissolve those problems so that it'll be easier for you, especially once you start dating. You can see those signs and take it for what it is and don't try to change it. So what do you think some pros and cons would be in changing and staying the same?
Ooh, I think some cons about staying the same would be I'll keep running into these situations where I'm dating the wrong people for too long, and it ended up turning into an abusive relationship because I'm so involved in trying to change that person and fix that person, and being too needy and wanting them to be there for me, and when they're really not focused on being there for me. I think those are some of the cons, and I think some of the pros to changing and making things work for the better would be not having to go through so much emotional or physical abuse anymore. I think the pros to going through this process and this challenge of changing how I date, how I see people, how I stay in situations. I feel like the pro would also be eventually finding that significant person that is right for me, you know.
Of course.
So I think those are some of my pros and cons.
Okay, those are very good and also very helpful. So as the our session comes to an end, I just want to task you with something. So I know earlier you mentioned speed dating
Right.
and just double dating.
Right.
I want you to try to explore those options for you,
Okay.
and kind of just see how that may help you, or just see how you feel at the very thought of it.
Right.
So kind of explore what that means. And then at our next session, we'll discuss that and see how it made you feel.
All right. That sounds
And
great.
I appreciate you coming in today, and you have a nice day.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.